right, guys, welcome back to the show. Before we get started, make sure and smash that like button, hit the subscribe, it helps us out. Today's guest, I have one of my favorite individuals, somebody that was paramount in me even getting to this point, becoming a pro disc golfer, becoming somebody who hustles in the media as well. It's Mr. Nate Perkins, and you laid a blueprint for a lot of people and how to hustle, and you know, you did it for so many years so well, so uniquely. You know, at the beginning, you put your hands in a bunch of different things. You got into commentary, got into on-course analyzing, you know, as well as being a phenomenal player who's almost won pro tours very nearly, you know, at the highest level. What do you like doing? What drives you now? And hello.
Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, Luke?
It's a lot right there, man.
No, it's great to be here with you, and it's interesting to you know, when other people frame it different than you think of your career and everything in your own mind. But you know, to answer your question, what drives me these days?
Yeah,
it's that's an interesting one, because it's changing all the time.
Yeah,
you know, when I first started touring in 2016, and what drove me back then was just like the sheer like novelty of the experience. Like, it was, I just wanted to go to Oregon, and I wanted to go to California. I had always dreamed of going there, and you know, I was just a kid from Texas who had been to Arkansas a few times and across the border into Louisiana, but I had always wanted to go to the Pacific coast, and I was really into disc golf at the time.
Yeah.
And I was still going to the University of Texas, and I was just kind of looking at the PDGA schedule and looking at different places in California where there were tournaments, and I picked out this one tournament in the middle of Northern California called the Salmon River Disc Golf Tournament, and it was like hours from the nearest city or anything. And I told my dad about it, and my dad was like, he's like one of my biggest supporters, and he actually signed me up for the tournament, and I didn't even know he signed me up. And I get a call from touching the mic stand already. Sorry, Isaac. I get a call from a random number at like 1:00 in the morning. I'm like playing video games. Like, I've got a test in a couple days, so I'm like halfway studying, halfway playing some video games, and it's like really late. And I answer the phone, and I'm like, hello? And he's like, yo, Perk. I'm like, who is this? And he's like, it's Greg. I'm like, Greg? And he's like, it's Barsby, dude. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, Greg Barsby, what's up, man? Why are you calling me?
your phone.
I had met him a year before at the Kansas City Wide Open, one of the first big events that I went to play. My dad drove me up and played with Will Schustrick, played with Greg Barsby, played with Dave Felberg, and it was a really, really big moment for me to like play with those guys who I'd like seen on YouTube a little bit. You know, there was less disc golf content then, but
that creates a fire too. The second you get to stand shoulder to shoulder with those guys in the trenches, throw shots, you know, have them tell you good shot and you tell them good shot, is just like a bonding moment, and it creates, you know, desire.
Yeah. No, definitely. And Will Schustrick was third in the world when I played with him, and my dad made such a big deal out of that. And I actually tied Will that first round at KC Wide Open, and my dad was like taking a picture of the scorecard, and it was so cool. And yeah, I had met Greg. I didn't even recall that I gave him my phone number or how he got it, but he was like, yo, I just saw you signed up for Salmon River, dude. You're coming. He's like, you got to come pick me up. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, you're going on the tour, right? And I was like, kind of like a little clueless. I was like, well, you know, what do you mean? And he was like, well, what other events are you playing? You know, are you going to play Beaver State? Or are you going to play, you know, any other tour events?
He's assumes you're coming out there to play more than one, make it worth your while.
Yeah. Yeah. And And so, you know, it got my wheels turning, and I'm like, all right, I guess I am going to play other tournaments. And
So this desire to expand your horizons and just like see places, Oregon, California, the places you talked about, started with the desire to expand, and then all of a sudden you get a call from, you know, one of the OGs, and he's talking you into making it an extended tour.
Yeah, he's talking about me picking him up, and you know, in my Prius, and going to play a few tournaments together. And I'm like, this is awesome. Absolutely, I'm in. So I signed up for this other tournament in Oregon. It was the A tier, the Links, and it was at a golf course. And then I signed up for the Beaver State Fling. And this is the first year of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. This is 2016. And 2 weeks after the Beaver State Fling was Maple Hill. So you got Beaver State Fling in
2,000 miles away.
Yeah, Oregon, and then 2 weeks later is Maple Hill. And so I signed up for all these events, and I cashed at the first one, or in Oregon at the Links, and then I missed cash.
Beaver State's one of the hardest places to cash on the planet still to this day. I mean,
yeah,
just not a big field. There's 9 people that aren't 1,000 rated. Whatever, it's tough. It's tough.
It's a tough tournament,
but didn't keep you from aspirations. You continued.
Well, yeah, I missed the cash, and you know, I was definitely like, this is going to be difficult. I have no money, and I'm not as good as a lot of these people. You know, I was kind of only throwing forehands still. Wasn't as good as a lot of these people, and I start making the trek across. So Greg's gonna fly. I start making the trek across the U.S. and I actually met up with my dad at Telluride Bluegrass Festival in Telluride, Colorado, which was a really just, you know, kind of a lifetime experience. That's one of my favorite festivals still. Just an incredible place. You've been to Telluride, right?
Dude, I haven't. I've been everywhere in Colorado, but I've not been to Telluride.
It's a special place, man. It's in the back of this bowl, and there's a massive waterfall in the very back of the bowl, and the stage is like down on the side, and you can, anywhere you are in the whole valley, you can hear the music kind of like bouncing off the mountains, and it's an incredible place.
Sounds magical.
It was a magical experience, and it kind of rekindled my love for like live music and stuff, and that continues to be a big part of my life.
Yeah, I know it is a big part of your life. That's crazy to hear. That's kind of where it, you know, restarted or whatever. So you're driving across the United States, stop there, but how does that?
And I'm like kind of like you know, not thinking that this disc golf thing is gonna, you know, pay any kind of bills, or I'm gonna be able to keep up at it for long.
It's just a cool experience that you're getting at this point. It feels like.
Yeah. And I barely make it to Maple Hill from Telluride. It was, you know, another 1,200 or 1,500 miles or whatever it is.
Hours,
barely make it to even my tee time, like on Thursday, and miss cash there. I think I missed cash at the next place, and I've got Greg Barsby and Nico LaCastro
driving around in the Prius
in the car from Maple Hill to Ohio to Wisconsin, both of them, which is crazy. Looking back,
you don't get a word in edgewise, man. Those two people in a car together telling stories. Shoot, dude.
It was crazy, Luke. Like we would put like an instrumental track on, and they would flow. They would rap together.
Right.
Yeah. It was awesome. Like they were both incredible at it.
The top characters on tour for sure. A lot of people don't know about the rap thing, but that's real too. The lyricists.
They are, and they were.
Was everybody getting along? Everybody was pretty chill.
Oh, their egos would just clash like no other, dude. It was insane. Like they were close friends. They were like brothers.
Right.
But their egos were both just through the roof, and they would constantly be like, you know, talking shit and saying who's a better disc golfer. And, you know, Nico had a better career at that time compared to Greg, but Greg would not let him have it. And, you know, they started talking about disc, and Greg had started a little bit before Nico and would always hold that. And it was, looking back, it was like, you know,
if you had a camera in that car,
it was unreal.
You could have built a season behind the scenes with that.
And I was trying to keep up with them on the course and learn how to throw a backhand on the fly and stuff. And was having a tough time, and went to the Silver Cup, this is the second Disc Golf Pro Tour event ever. Maple Hill was the first.
The Silver Cup was a second.
Silver Cup was the second Disc Golf Pro Tour event ever.
You know, you were affiliated with the Silver Cup in that family for a while. It's like, I guess I got ahead of the story a bit. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So that's where I met I met a woman at the Silver Cup, and I wasn't even going to play the tournament. I was just going to drop Greg and Nico off there, and Greg paid my entry fee to the tournament, and then I'm leading the tournament after 2 rounds. I'm like leading the tournament. I'm in front of the cameras and everything for my first time ever. And it kind of like, you know, sparked the confidence. Yeah. It was just like, you just need a little spark to say, oh, I could do this.
I can do this.
I can play this game. And, you know, right. I won a little bit of money there, almost none, you know, just like breaking even. But it was just the confidence that like kind of motivated me to do it. And, you know, and then it was kind of at that moment that I realized that even if I broke even, or if I was a little bit in the red, that the experiences I was getting, it was invaluable.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I felt like the whole world was kind of opening up to me. Like I was always like afraid of going to get a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could do something with myself. I just didn't know what it was, you know. I was like considering going to law school and doing some like environmental law, but
yeah, you had a degree from UT at this point.
Yeah.
You could have done some other stuff.
Yeah, but I was like afraid of, you know, like just filing in line, like we all kind of are.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of easy. Like after I got that a little bit of confidence, I was like, oh, I definitely want to do this.
It's like
I definitely want to play this game.
A recognition that the losses, the missed cash weren't being wasted, that each one of those moments was getting you closer to being able to cash on a weekly basis, maybe win on the tour, whatever it may be. It was just, you knew that your time was going to pay off, right? That's what it felt like.
Yeah. A little bit. It's all up in the air, you know? And I was using my credit card, and I was definitely in the red, and my student loans were starting to come in and everything. And so, you know, fast forward toward the end of the year, and I'm like, okay, well, I was definitely in the red quite a bit. And then as the you know, DGP Disc Golf Pro Tour year 1 is over, and they like release a schedule for the next year, and it like makes a lot more sense, and they have more events, and they're talking about more money being involved, and it was kind of like, okay, no brainer, I'm going to do this. And how am I going to do it? I bought a van, old busted up. I don't know if you remember my red van, my 99 Ford van. And I'm like, okay, I need to sell more discs. And Greg kind of showed me a little bit about that, about setting your discs up for sale at like the local leagues around the country and stuff.
Dude, and you pioneered that to a degree, man. You took what Greg was doing, and like you outfitted a van so that you could almost have a store in the back of your van. I saw you for years selling hundreds, thousands of dollars of plastic right there. People love that personal experience that you were getting to. You really pioneered that in my mind. I just, maybe it was because I was up close, but it was cool to see. And it was a way that you could stay on tour. Like you're saying, you got to sell those Frisbees sometimes as you're accruing the experience.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not winning, and I wasn't winning, I wasn't, you know, I was getting, you know, top 25 on a good weekend. And I knew that I wasn't going to be consistently like beating Paul Macbeth and Ricky and them. I knew I could like beat them on a few rounds, and that I could like cash. And at some tournaments I was really confident and felt like, you know, on a technical course, I could win, but from a business standpoint, I knew I had to like hustle extra if I wanted to keep playing the game. And it was like, you kind of had to like, you go half and half, split it half and half, like focus on playing and improving your game to compete, and then focus on like, you know, selling discs and connecting with people. And
recognize that Nate Perkins is an entity that it needs to be run like a business, and there needs to be other avenues of cash and ways to make that. So you were a businessman when I met you. I feel like, you were
Nice.
even at your young age, because I'm 35. You're
Just turned 30.
just turned 30.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. It's fun. It's fun.
We're here.
I think the 30s are fun, man.
Yeah.
But I felt like you were always wise beyond your years. You're talking about recognition. You needed to do other stuff. You needed to sell those discs. Like, how does that business part of you, flourish? How did it grow? And
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have like a business background or anything. The quickest hustle was just selling discs. And I kind of have always had a passion for artwork a bit. And so just appreciating artwork, and I'm not an artist myself, but I was on a trip actually. Was on a trip in Asia, my first international trip, near the end of 2017, with my partner at the time, Melissa, and I ran into an artist on the street who his art was incredible, and he was also a tattoo artist, and I saw the potential for his artwork on discs, and I explained the game of disc golf to him and told him that I'd love to get his art on some discs and get him some money and stuff, and then I kind of told him a few ideas that I had in my head for some pieces, and then he put together 3 or 4 pieces for me, like on the fly, and then I start getting the discs like custom stamped with this guy's artwork, and everyone loved it.
Yeah,
and
the owl yin yang.
Yeah,
the heart octopus.
Yeah, exactly.
They had some really cool art.
And it was really fun. Discs are like the perfect little canvas for art. And so it was just a fun little thing to feel like a little creative director and getting some pieces made. And then, you sell a disc to someone in Des Moines, Iowa. And then the next year you roll around to Des Moines, they're like, do you have any more of the squid stamp or the deer stamp? Like, it's my favorite, it's up on my wall. And you make these little connections with people, and you do that year after year, and it starts to build, and you have this like cool little community of people that are like supporting you because they have this memory with you, and they love this disc with your stamp, they associate it with you. And then you start to see your stamps like on Facebook, they're like, anyone got a Perkins stamp? You're like, whoa, this is cool.
Not only that, I mean, you ended up with one of the most loved discs of all time too. I feel like, the Night Strike
with Dysmenia.
Dude, infamous, man.
Yeah.
That first run of Night Strike sells for $200 to this day, 100 plus for used. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, that was special.
Go ahead.
My relationship with Discmania became integral. That my first year with the Night Strike was 2018.
I think it was.
Was it 18 or 19?
17 was the CD2s with the rattlesnake, I think. Is that right? And then 18 you got the Night Strike.
Yep. Yeah, I remember UC walking up to me at USDGC in 2017 and telling me he was going to offer me a signature disc.
What's that like, dude?
Well, it was, when I heard it, I was like, I didn't feel like it deserved it. That was my first
Idlewild, right? 2017. Your Idlewild performance was stellar. You were on lead card, in it, back 9, final round. Paul Macbeth on the card. I don't remember it like extremely well. I'm sure you do, but what was that experience like? And that had to have something to do with UC, approaching you.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, the experience was incredible. Looking back, I was such a confident player for my skill set. I was
threading forehand.
Yeah, I knew what I could do with the forehand, and it was that course when I first played it. I remember telling Dustin Keegan, I'm like, I can play this course as good as anybody can play it. Like, I can hit every line over and over again. And, you know, the first round, you know, I shot like a 5 down or something. And at that point, that was like a really good score. Like a lot of people were shooting over par, and
a lot of trees have fallen since then.
Yeah.
That course was nasty.
And I was on the lead card, Andrew Presnell, I think Drew Gibson was on there, and it was so much fun. And I had another good round, and I was like in the lead, tied with the lead after 2, and I had the lead after 12 holes during the final round, you know, and just a few missed shots away from competing down the stretch. And it's those type of performances that they build that confidence a little bit. And in this game, it's so much about believing in yourself and shedding that self-doubt,
right,
and being confident.
So fast forward after that performance, UC approaches you. He's like, dude, I think we got a little something special for you. Does he tell you what the disc is then? Do you guys discuss options?
Yeah. He told me that I get to choose a disc and a plastic type. And immediately I said a Color Glow FD.
Because they'd only been released in like a special format before that. Like you know, they hadn't stock released a Color Glow FD ever, right?
No. Yeah. No stock Color Glow FD. But he was like, yeah, we could do it, because I was really focused on learning the backhand.
Yeah.
And
getting something that'll flip up a little bit.
I wanted something to flip up, and it was like the only disc I could really throw.
But it's genius, because anybody can throw an FD.
Yeah.
It can be in anybody's bag.
And
super user-friendly, straight fairway.
Yeah. And it's the Night Strike has definitely been a gift to my life, for sure. My relationship with Dysmania and that signature disc, like, not only did it kind of give me a platform with fans of Discmania and fans of disc golf and everything, but just the financial support alone kind of like changed what I was able to focus on.
Yeah.
Like, it took that pressure off me. I wasn't worried about literally how I'm going to fill my gas tank up and stuff as much anymore. It didn't make me rich by any means, but it just gave me a little bit of cash and took that pressure off. And at the end of that year, I did my first international trip, which totally opened up my life and changed my life. And yeah, I'll always be grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah,
you know, because it's been the disc golf has been the greatest gift, like, to my life. And now it seems like it has to yours as well at this point. And
yeah,
it's so crazy, Luke. Like, I can't believe that I just finished my 7th year doing it full time. I mean, I've been living out of a vehicle for 7 years now. I haven't paid rent in 8 years.
Wild to think about. I mean, from an electric, you know, car to now a Mercedes, totally outfitted with everything that you want or need. You know, you've slowly made it comfortable out there.
Yeah, it's been comfortable. The van just hit 250,000 miles. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yep.
How many times have you been back and forth to the coast, left to right, the whole way, you think?
Well, let's see, you know, a couple times a year for 5 years in that van. So, you know, I've hit, you know, 40 states or so in that van. Yeah, went to Alaska.
Yeah.
Drove the Alcan Highway to Alaska.
Drove to Prince Edward Island.
Yep, Prince Edward Island.
Longest bridge in the world. Those things are so far away from each other, bro.
Yeah, they are.
Insane.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, truly blessed, man.
But yeah, my time with the Disc Mania has officially come to an end.
Okay.
Yep. I haven't announced it publicly yet. Solely because I haven't had conversations with everybody at the company yet, and you know, I want to talk to people that I consider my friends and let them know, like, what the reasoning is behind it, and it's interesting because the decisions kind of get kind of forced on you with the timing of the off season, and like people want you to make a decision by like January 1st, and so you know with such a this off season has been such an interesting time period for me. There's such a big fork in the road of like what I want to focus on. You know, I'm like, do I want to focus on still trying to compete? Do I want to focus on the agency and like helping my players out? Do I want to focus on Disc Golf Network and analyzing the game and working on broadcasts? Or, you know, do I want to focus on something else completely different, like outside of disc golf? Like I know I can do anything I want to do. I'm really privileged in that way. Like, and I want to, it's hard to know what is the right choice.
Yeah.
What's going to be the most financially lucrative? Is that even what I'm trying to, does that even matter?
No.
Like what's going to be the most fulfilling? What determines it? What's going to be fulfilling?
Only Nate Perkins knows. I mean, we can talk to each other and we can try and figure that out together, because sometimes that does help, but it's going to be something in your heart, man. And I think at the end of the day, there's not a bad decision. You've showed that if you follow your heart, you end up in good places. And I truly believe that if you continue doing that, you'll find the peace and the fulfillment that you're looking for, whether that's the agency, which I think, is an incredible opportunity. You're doing something as a player agent that no one else has done before. And you're doing it, I think, in my opinion, the only person that's doing it right. There's some people, I don't want to name names, but there's some people that are taking advantage of players. There's some people that aren't working hard, that are not going about it the right way. And so I commend you for that. And what is the agency, what has all that been like? And is that something, like you said, that maybe you could do forever?
Yeah, the agency really, it started with me just wanting to help my friends. I think actually you were like one of the first people that I like might even have officially helped. Like
you didn't, yeah, you officially helped me. Man.
Yeah,
you got me actual dollars on that Pro Discus deal back in the day.
Right, and it was just because I was with you at the time, and you were going through these negotiations yourself, and it's like it's a difficult thing to vouch for yourself.
It was my first one.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, I'll vouch for him, and just wrote up an email to Kai, and then it wasn't too long after that I ran into Ezra Aderhold, and I saw his potential, and I chatted with him quite a bit, and I just gave him I just blurted out the advice to him. I didn't ask him if he wanted any advice, but I told him, I was like, don't sign with anybody. Like, play this season, don't sign. Like, go have the year you're gonna have. Mm-hmm. Like, go get to 10, 15 rated and go have some good finishes. And then we'll go and we'll have more leverage and we'll be able to like get a deal.
Yeah.
And then the dude just did exactly that. Didn't sign, trusted me. And then we got him a sweet deal. And now we just restructured his deal with Discraft, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
He has a killer deal, and he's got 50,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. And he's a
hustler.
I'm so proud of him, and fulfilled from just being a little piece to helping him.
Yeah.
Guiding him to the guys at OTB, guiding him to Discraft a little bit. Like, obviously Ezra it's all him. He's an amazing athlete. He's in front of the camera. He works hard.
We can't do it by ourselves at the end of the day. He would have most likely been talked into signing a contract if you hadn't said that, and would have gotten far less that next year, maybe been in a 3-year or something, wouldn't have been in a position like he was. So, well, it's not groundbreaking, but that advice changed his life, gave him an opportunity to do this forever.
Yeah.
And now he's one of the staples in our game, creating some of the best content on the market.
Yeah, he really is. Now he's like the player that when a company reaches out, they compare, player X to Ezra. They're like, how much content is he making? Like, and Ezra's the one player that the companies reach out to us about, like, to try and get. Like,
more than any other.
More than any other.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got really big players who obviously everyone like Ricky and Paige people are reaching out for, but then the next tier down, Ezra's the only guy that people were like actively like, we want to sign this guy.
Yeah.
Well,
he's on a trajectory, and you can tell that he's gonna continue to work hard. He's not just doing this as a flash in the pan. He's got the motivation. You can tell. I mean, anybody who keeps their physical body in that kind of shape is a motivated individual. That is not easy, dude. It's so easy to eat donuts and ramen and pizza, dude. It's so easy to do it. They'll deliver it to your house, man, but they don't deliver the stuff that you actually need that Ezra's eating. He ate beans for like almost 2 years exclusively. I think
straight out of the Prius.
Yeah.
Cooking them in the Instapot in the Prius.
I didn't get it for a while. One time I was like, dude, I'll buy you dinner. Why don't you come out with like me and Barsby and I can't remember who else was going. And he was like, nah, man, I'm good. And I was just thinking like, bro, I just offer you a free meal. Like he was living in the Prius at this point, and he was just like not going to eat the garbage that we were going to eat or be, talked into queso for dinner, whatever it might be. Disciplined.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he really is. I definitely don't have that. I don't have that little factor that he has.
Not many do, man.
Yeah.
Not many do. It's unique.
I admire it.
Yeah, that's why people are asking about him all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll win on the Pro Tour, and it's
I believe that as well.
Yeah.
He's got too much raw talent, man.
Yeah.
There's too many weeks of the year. He'll be at the top one of them for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of touch on the Dysmania deal a bit, because like I was saying, it's the decisions get kind of forced on you. Yeah. I've had this big fork in the road, like I was saying, and it's hard when there's a time limit on such a big decision.
Yeah.
Discmania, I've been with them for 7 years. They've been the only company that I've been sponsored by, and I never won a Pro Tour tournament. I got to 1020 rated, but I wasn't finishing in the top 10 every time. I wasn't like an elite player. At some point I became like a known name, you could say, because of my work, like in post-production. I did some work with Jomez, Central Coast, like Terry Miller, like all the production companies I was working with. And so I was, people knew who I was, but I felt like Dysmania was really taking care of me for where I was as a player, and I was always so thankful for their support. 3 years of night strikes, and 2 years of Zen 1 and 2, which are both incredible discs. And it's interesting because I didn't talk to Dysmania very much. And so like no one at the company really knows like how grateful I am for their support and like what kind of experiences I've been able to have because of their checks.
Yeah.
Right. They don't know like how my life has changed. I've been able to go and travel. I've been able to go to Asia. I've been able to go and spend 6 weeks in Europe. Like these are things I never even really dreamed of.
Yeah.
It's not like I have a regular exchange with Dysmania where I'm like, man, thank you so much. Like I just went to Europe for 6 weeks. I played these tournaments and I commentated these events, and it's like you're a contracted, employee kind of. So it's just like, oh, we'll pay you X amount of dollars. You go do what you do, Nate. And so I want to tell them, all of them, how thankful I am.
Yeah.
Because they were integral in all of these amazing experiences I've been able to have.
Yeah, for sure. It's not, there wasn't charity work on their part either, though. For the level of play that you had, I don't know that anybody else hustled as hard over the last 5 years. That's to say that, like you said, maybe not an elite player, but capable of playing elite rounds and then doing all of the hustling on the side of it. They they didn't just pay for your trips, man. You gave them so much. You posted on the socials. You collaborated with so many people. You brought disc golf. You grew the sport, man. Under Discmania, for Discmania. I think it was a good relationship.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Luke.
Yeah, not one-sided.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't feel like totally one-sided, but definitely want to show them more gratitude than I felt like they've received from me, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because it's interesting when you go to the end of your contract year and you start talking about your value to a company, and you're like explaining yourself to them, and they're like, well, are we getting enough return? And you get down to the crunching the numbers, and it's such a difficult thing. And that's why another reason why I started the agency is because I'm like, players shouldn't be doing this for themselves.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to tell a company like why you're valuable and what things you're doing and the connections you're making and how you're all constantly wearing their brand, and you're, you know, throwing their products, and
that's
all
why
the different people's hands that you got the disc into. And you know, that's how I felt like I actually helped Dysmenia the most. Was my first couple of years. I was showing up at a course. I was hosting an event. I was getting Dysmania plastic in people's hands. And for my first couple of years, not everyone had even weren't even familiar with the disc. So I was meeting someone, giving them a P2 or giving them an MD3, and then playing around with them and having an experience with them. And then, you know, they have this experience, they have this custom disc, they met a player like with the company,
lifetime fan,
and then they're a customer for life, you know, and like, it's hard to really track that.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's like a grassroots level thing, but that's how I felt like I helped them the most. And it's hard when you go, okay, well, Nate, your contract is up, and let's get down to your value. You know, how many posts did you make, and how many tournaments did you play? But it's a hard thing to track, as we all know.
There's no formula yet. You know, this is young. Agency in disc golf is young, but you continue to pioneer it. And just to put a bow on the Discmania talk, can you let us into the future at all? Is that something that you can speak about now, or what can you talk about?
Right now, I think I'm going to just take a short break from signing with anybody, because I am still deciding what I want to focus on. Like, I've been wearing so many hats, and I need to kind of trim it down and just hone in my focus a little bit more. And I'm not ruling out the idea of working with another disc golf company, because I want to work with one, but I want to do it in a little bit different way. I kind of want to work with a company where I do have more regular communication, and like, I'm a part of like the marketing strategy, and like, I'm a part of like disc release strategy, and, you know, which molds we're making, like what actual, like, I want to like design discs. Like, I want to work specifically with the company on all those different aspects. And so I'm kind of looking for more of like a partner, versus just like, hey, this is like, you know, choose a mold and a plastic type, and this is your signature disc, and we'll make a set amount of them. You know, if I'm working with a disc golf company, I want to be like all in on it, because I think that with my experience and just with my skills, that I can help a company like succeed. You know, so I'm going to take a little break. Just going to take a little break, and I'm still going to compete.
Okay.
We
saw you playing on a lead card a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome.
It's a super fun treat. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, jump online. We filmed the 2023 Straddle the Brazos with Nate Perkins, Emerson Keith, Chris Harris, and Mickey Welsh.
Yeah, that was a great day, man. Yeah, you got GK to come down, and my family came down to watch on Saturday, and to you know, I've been given a lot of private lessons down in Austin, but I haven't been training too much myself. I've been in the rock climbing gym almost every day. I'm like feeling like super strong right now and everything, but I haven't, you know, been spending hours at the putting green or anything like that. So, you know, to shoot a 10-20 round and make it on the lead card and get to play with Emerson, one of my good friends, and get to play in front of the cameras at the Beast it was really fun, man.
It's a special day.
It was a perfect day too.
Gorgeous.
68 and sunny, and
yeah. We're sitting inside right now, but in Dallas, Texas today, it's going to be 80 degrees, January 10th.
We're going to have to get out there and go play. We got Paul Oman here.
We'll be getting out there. Yeah, Tall Paul in the house.
Yeah, he's in the house, man.
Maria Oliva, Luke Sampson in Dallas. It's become kind of a fun hub.
Yeah.
It goes through little phases. We're all here sometimes, but when we are, it's definitely fun.
Yeah.
And this guy, he could use a walk.
Yeah, Hoagie.
He's 1 on 1 off these days, pushing 10.5, which is, you know, he's a 105 pounder. So getting up there.
He's the best, man. His energy is definitely it's so great to be around.
Hey, bud.
But yeah, I'm so I have that fire to compete still.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy how like the like disc golf, like when you're playing good and you know, I got 4th place at Straddle the Brazos. Like wasn't the best final round, you know, a couple putts away from competing for the win, but
yeah.
I'm proud of it, averaging 10-20 and just a little bit of that. It's like, okay, I'm a little bit more confident going into the next one and then the next one and the next one, and how it's like how confidence is key. In the last few years, I've really been kind of struggling with that. I've been struggling with the, you know, shedding that doubt about my skill set.
Yeah.
You know, and not playing within myself and I not being at peace on the course, you know, because of that, because of the self-doubt that I have. Oh, you can't throw far enough. Oh, you shouldn't be playing this Pro Tour course. Like you can't do this, Nate. But that battle alone is partly why I want to keep playing, because like I know I can throw the disc far enough. Like I can rip on the disc. Like I can throw 450 feet like on command in an open field. It's just like finding that piece on the tee pad or on the putting green and letting yourself do it. Yeah. Not getting in the way. Yeah. Like golf is so unique in that way. Like I never thought when I played football what I need to do to run this route, right, or how to catch this ball.
Instinctual in the moment, just athleticism taking over. Exactly.
You're playing intuitively with the intuitive state of mind.
Yeah.
And like in golf, it's like analytical state of mind. You're just overanalyzing.
Dude, your disc is 30 feet away. You got a 30-footer. You have to walk up to the disc thinking about all these things. And then you have this routine that you got to go through. And then you're going to bang the putt. And it's just like, it's so easy, but there's so much time to get off track, to distract yourself, to just think about all the things you can't do instead of focusing on what you simply can do.
Yeah.
Done a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
tough, man.
It's a beast, man.
It's tough, but that's why
you back every day.
That's what it brings me back, and so I'm scheduled for 12 events on the Disc Golf Network.
Okay.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about.
Doing on-course analysts,
the sideline reporter. Okay. Yep, I'm like the Aaron Andrews.
Yeah,
the Aaron Andrews of disc golf.
The Dottie Pepper.
Yeah,
PGA Tour.
Nice.
Dottie's, she kills it.
I love it. I love talking about disc golf. I can't believe I have a job where I just talk about disc golf. Like it's really cool, but it does make it's interesting because what it does is like, okay, well, Nate, you're already telling yourself that you want to talk about disc golf and not play disc golf. Yeah. So there's an interesting thing there.
Yeah.
Because I do want to do that in the future, and so I feel like if I want to do it in the future, I kind of have to start now. You know what I mean? It's like you want to get your foot in the door, and
that is part of it. I mean, we saw Brian Earhart last year with a lot of skills and time still in the bank.
Yeah.
Decide to just go fully into that, and I think part of it was because it's a young new thing to get into. not too many people are into it now. Like in other sports, you see like a Reggie Miller in basketball or a Johnny Miller in golf. Those are people who excelled at the top level in their game and then decided to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the Ken Climbers or the Barry Schultz in the world doing that. And Brian Earhart, in addition to some other people, noticed a gap somewhere that they could be filled and create a career out of this. I think Brian's going to be doing this forever. He's incredible at it.
Yeah, I think he's the best.
He's really good.
I think Brian Earhart is the best.
He can break down the stroke and the flight as good as anybody.
He's a super genius, and he's super passionate about disc golf, and he realizes what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to capture the audience and walk them through with our passion and with our understanding. We're trying to guide them through this journey every weekend, and he's the best. And I'm glad that he has as many jobs as he has next season. Yeah. And I'm happy to be working with him a little bit. It's Charlie and Brian I'm working with. So Charlie will be play-by-play. Brian will be color, and then I'm on the course. Okay. Anytime I'm working out, I'll be with him. That's a great
trio.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. I love doing it, and I believe in the Disc Golf Network and the Disc Golf Pro Tour, what they're doing. So it's cool for them to give me the opportunity to do it, and I'm also going to be competing, so I'll be kind of half and half. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play like less than half of the Elite Series, and
it creates an interesting dynamic. And I know you're not, shying away from it. You're aware of it fully. It is hard to do that half and half.
Yeah,
it's the multiple weekends in a row of tournaments that it kind of slides you into a state where you're doing it and it's every week, and that's when you really start to get into that flow state. And if you interrupt that with other jobs or whatever, it's not to say that you can't succeed, but it definitely it makes it more challenging, I'd say.
No, you're right. It totally
not
does.
Impossible.
No, it's not impossible, and it's also, I think it's important to know why I'm competing, and to just be competing for myself. And like, I think that like I've been, at times I feel like I'm like competing for validation that I can still do this and everything. And I think that's been one of my issues. And I feel like I've only recently become aware of that. And so it's going to be one of my focus points this year, that I'm not competing to try and make something of myself. Like, I'm not clinging on to Nate Perkins, the disc golfer. I want to compete because I actually love the game. I love throwing the disc, and I love shooting under par. Yeah. Like I love attacking a course and dissecting a course, and I want to rekindle that relationship over the whole arc of what it means to have a good round, or what it means to have a good tournament finish. Yeah. Like I want to care less about what it means to finish and just like have that relationship with the game. Yeah.
Involved in the process. That's how you shoot good rounds. You focus on the stroke. You make a pretty release. Yeah. And you hit that line.
One thing at a time.
And then you walk up to your disc and do it again.
Not like, oh, I'm at the OTB Open. Like, I need to shoot these scores to cash, or I need to shoot these scores to get top 10 or to be in the mix. Like, not any of those large, big picture ideas, which sometimes on the big stage that can happen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's hard to keep those thoughts out of your mind. Your ego, it becomes such a thing. The second somebody's watching, it becomes like, all right, don't embarrass yourself, or like prove yourself worthy or whatever. I fall into those myself as well.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. You're one of, if not my oldest disc golf buddies. It's fun to sit here and talk about this with you, man.
We played so many cash rounds.
It was a long time ago, and you can't think about the cash rounds that we played together without thinking about a friend that's no longer here with us, Matt Mayo. It's like, one of the guys that really was the glue behind some of those cash games in Dallas with Emerson, and you know,
Yeah.
he's
I actually met Matt at Straddle the Brazos
no kidding.
tournament.
No kidding.
Yeah, Straddle the Brazos. Played the Cameron Park West course, and this dude, he had all his tie-dye stuff on, and he had his sunglasses, and he had his like flat bill, like super wook kind of looking hat and everything, and he goes to throw on like hole 4 or something, and he throws and he spins out, like rotates out of it, and his hat flies off his head, and he catches his hat like Mayo style, and he like looks and he parks the hole. He ends up shooting like a 10 down, like a 1040 rated round, and I'm like, who's this space cadet, dude? This guy, and he's a super stoner, and like we would just play disc golf all the time. Like when I was living in the Dallas area, and I would pick him up and we would go play cash rounds. It was me, you, and Emerson and Matt, and yeah, Matt, man, I was at Bowling Green AMS. You know that spot?
I've never been there.
You've heard of it though?
Yeah,
They have a big amateur tournament
for sure
up there, and it was a good place to vend discs, and I was up there selling discs, and my grandmother's funeral was the next day, and so we sold discs, and then we were booking it through the night to my grandmother's funeral. She had just passed like a week ago. It wasn't unexpected, but it was, you're still like, I'm up late at night. I'm with Alyssa. We're in the van. We're driving, and then I get a message. From one of our mutual friends that Matt just got in a horrible accident and is clinging on to life. And then, just a couple hours later, like he passed away. And at that point in my life, that was probably one of the biggest deaths I had dealt with.
Yeah.
And it was just a new kind of
a younger person passing.
Yeah, one of your friends that's like close to you. Like I had some, it was interesting processing his passing at my grandmother's funeral at the same time. It was just it was just so much pain and everything, and sadness and a little bit of confusion and everything when it happens like tragically like that.
Yeah.
And
like, what happened? They rolled the van.
Yeah, they didn't put the tire back on the van correctly, and so the lugs came off and the whole tire came off, and they spun, and 2 people died. But to see the disc golf community, like I had no idea how many people Matt Mayo had like kicked it with. Like exactly. Everyone had a Matt Mayo story.
They did.
And it was so special because he was you would talk to Matt on the phone, and when he'd hung up the phone, it's just peace and love.
Yeah.
Peace and love is how he would depart ways with you in person or on the phone.
Yeah.
He was ex-military.
Seen some crazy stuff.
He got blown up in a car, in a Humvee in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Had brain trauma.
Yeah.
And found marijuana and found disc golf and was able to find his happy place.
Yeah.
And it was really special to see the disc golf community kind of just rally and grieve together and everything. And I still have one of his pins in my disc golf bag, like a little tie-dye pin, and shout out to Matt Mayo.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt Mayo. His happiness, it resonated throughout the disc golf world. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best part about this whole thing, isn't it? The community.
It is 100%, man. You've got friends in places that you've never been. Show up on a course and you got a card that you've never seen. It's
the best community. It's like when people that don't know disc golf ask me, and you tell them, they're like, oh, I live in a van and I travel internationally for this game, and they're like, whoa, like that's crazy. And when they start giving you questions and you're really sharing with someone, like one of the things I always share is how special the community is. Because in this time period, I think a lot of us we're lacking community. I mean, we used to live in small nomadic groups, 100 to 150 people, where everybody knew everybody intimately.
Right.
Like you took care of your friends' children. Like you fed them.
Yeah.
Like you hunted food for them. You gathered food for them. Like you took care of everybody for their whole life.
21st century is a lonely place, man.
It's super isolating. I mean, they just released a study saying that it was like the number of people that don't have a close friend has gone up like 30%.
Yeah.
The number of people in the United States that have 10 close friends has like gone like close to zero. Like we are lacking community, like in the way that we live. You know, you're driving to work alone. Like you're at work, you've got work acquaintances.
Yeah.
You come home, and obviously the pandemic, like
only heightened it.
Yeah, it even more isolated us from each other. And
what happens because of that? You don't have those people. You don't have the people to ask life questions to. You don't have the people telling you you're okay, you're doing this right. It just takes some time. Sometimes you end up being in your own head way too much and getting down. And I think we've also seen a rise in depression throughout the period of time that you're discussing as well.
Yeah.
You know.
But that's something that we have in disc golf. We have this incredible community. Like I feel bad because I don't see my family very much because I'm, I guess, selfish with my time, and like I'm like on a disc golf journey all the time. And I feel lucky that I have that feeling with my friends on the road. Right. Like we have such a special group. Like James Conrad is like my closest friend. I spend so much time with that man and his partner Jordan, and Paige and Alyssa and Dustin Keegan and Zoe and Missy Gannon and Tom. Like the community is really special, and I feel like I'm surrounded by friends and families and friends and family like every day.
Yeah.
To
have somebody truly understand you, to know why you tick, to know what you like and what you don't, and just not have to say all that stuff, and just have this, just an understanding, a ground level with people.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's key. It's a key part of happiness. It's been like the most important part of my life, because I'm a happy person, like constantly. Like I'm fortunate in that way. Like I feel like I got some good brain chemistry, and I don't deal with like depression as much as I feel like some people do. We all have neural divergence, and some people, they're dealing with it a little bit more. And I feel fortunate that to be in a good place, and a lot of that comes from the people that I'm surrounded by.
Yeah.
And so like it's easy for me to go and be kind to other people. Right. It's easy for me to go and give my energy to another person, like just give it all to them, and to try and help them with my time and with whatever resources I have, because I have that myself.
Your stores are filled.
Yeah.
You can give out now.
And it's hard to do that when you don't have like that foundation of people around you. Yeah. And so it's the easiest decision of my life to continue with this community.
Yeah.
Like whether Nate Perkins is like playing out on the pro tour or whatever I'm doing, like I will be fulfilled, not because of what I'm doing, whatever I'm making of myself. I'll be fulfilled because like I'm at peace. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we've got friends. Like I get to kick it with you all the time. Like we get to go on adventures. Like we get to go rock hounding. Like we get to experience, and we get to share it with our closest people.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of the best life I could really imagine.
I didn't even know that it existed. I couldn't even imagine it. I thought I wanted to work a desk job, bro.
Yeah. Play golf on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of that has to, I mean, it has to do with like just being able to be outside, getting vitamin D on a regular basis, seeing streams, seeing coasts, seeing mountains, valleys, just seeing the wonders, and it helps you understand how small you are and how we're all just in it together.
Yeah, it's disc golf's taken us to some incredible places.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
And I feel like kind of both of us are really motivated from. Should we re up on coffee?
Yeah, yeah, we should. We'll be right back. I hope you can't get out of here.
You trap token?
Are you all trap tokies? Let's get you back up top. Okay.
Hold
Let's
up.
get you back up top.
All right, we back. Yeah, I know that I feel both of us are motivated to keep doing this to keep getting out into the United States like countryside. Like, the United States is incredible. Like
So diverse.
like I've always just loved ever since I was a little kid, I loved maps.
Yeah.
Just like looking at maps.
Yeah.
And I remember when Google Earth came out, I was like in the 3rd or 4th grade or something, and we were in the computer class and everything, and my dad had showed me Google Earth, and I was showing everyone Google Earth, and I was like zooming in on the mountains and stuff and looking, and just like I was obsessed, you know. And I'm still obsessed. Like I love getting on the maps and like looking at where we're going and like looking at like off the beaten trail, like places to go check out and everything. And it's, and I know that I know that you love that as well, like picking out specific little spots, and
Yeah.
especially to go like rock hounding.
Of course.
Like that's become, I guess, more than just a hobby.
Yeah,
It's like
it definitely has been some place I can go with my thoughts, and just it's a little bit mindless, but it's not the mindlessness I love. It's being in nature. It's hard to describe until you find something really valuable on the ground.
Yeah.
It's just like, it sounds weird, but the second you do it, I mean, like many of my friends will find out, you can get hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of just like loving mountains and the world and adventuring, you yourself are about to head out on an adventure that I am super jealous of.
Yeah.
It's incredible what you're about to do. Let's hear about it.
I am flying to New Zealand on January 30th.
Dude.
I'm going January 30th. My return flight is March 7th. So, entire month of February, and
40 days.
I'm coming back just in time to play Waco Pro Tour.
Okay.
So I'm missing Vegas, missing some tournaments in California that I normally love to play, like Wintertime Open, La Mirada, and maybe Goat Hill. I would have done that swing, Shelly Sharp Memorial.
Yeah.
But
But
I've always dreamed.
yeah, Vegas will be there, man.
Yeah, it will. I've always dreamed of going to New Zealand. Actually, since I was looking at Google Earth in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
I remember zooming in on the mountains on the South Island. I'm like, what is this place? Like,
what is this?
and then, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And you find out that it's filmed in New Zealand, and you're like, this is the best place on the planet.
Just
like
ocean to cliffs to
Yeah.
green grass on hills.
Uh-huh. And yeah, disc golf sparked my love for travel.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's become just as much of a motivation for me as the game itself. Like, just to go and immerse myself in a different culture.
Yeah.
with the people to see how they live and to eat what they eat. And it offers like something very unique. It offers perspective, like the perspective that I got when I went to Asia for the first time, when I saw a woman carrying a baby while she's plowing a rice field, while she's plowing plowing a field in Vietnam. I'm like, all right, dude, like you can't complain about your shit anymore. You can't.
Yeah.
Like when I hear someone complaining about their job or whatever, I'm like, okay, like let's just put it into perspective.
Okay, you got running water.
Okay.
You got a full belly.
You
got a job that pays.
Yeah. You got your white male living in the United States. Like we already hit the lottery, dude. We are so fortunate. Like use the privilege, you know, and be aware of your privilege. Be aware, have that perspective, like carry it with you.
Yeah.
Be grateful.
A lot of times people don't even, it's really hard to get here in the United States. You know, it takes a trip, it takes immersion, you know, it takes witnessing how the other half lives, you know, more than half of the world lives to really truly understand it. I think it's something we can talk about, but you know, it's something that both of us would suggest that you check off your bucket list immediately, like expanding your horizons, deepening your point of view, giving yourself, you know, a point of reference to talk from.
Yeah, no, totally. It's something I carry with me close, is that different perspective. And I am going to continue to travel for forever.
Yeah.
I love it so much, and I don't really think of it as like I'm gonna go check off the box of New Zealand. Like it's not like I've been to Thailand, I'm not gonna return there. It's an experience I had, and I don't really have an itinerary for New Zealand. I'm playing two tournaments. I'm playing like a really large B tier. That's the South Island Championships, like the first weekend I get there. And then I'm playing the New Zealand National Championship in the very tip of the Southern Island at the end of my trip. And I don't have any itinerary in between. I will be teaching with You Play Disc Golf.
Okay.
I'll be like gathering teachers together at a school and teaching their curriculum to the teachers, just kind of like sharing about disc and getting them motivated to like share it with the kids and stuff.
For sure.
But outside of that, I think I might buy like a busted up van and that has a bed in it, or put a bed in it, and just go check out some of the mountains. And
is it New Zealand that has like more sheep than people?
It might, yeah.
I feel like
it has a lot of sheep. I know that they shear a lot of sheep down there.
Yeah,
I almost did a workaway.
Oh.
Yeah, when I first met Alyssa, we almost did the workaway there.
Yeah.
And that we would have been shearing sheep.
I'm sure that would have been a crazy experience.
Yeah.
A great one. My dad did that as a kid, actually. My grandpa.
You went to New Zealand?
We sent him to Australia when he was like 14 years old or something like that to work on a sheep farm for a few months.
Cool.
My family's always believed in the international experience.
Yeah.
Which when you're a kid, it seems you just don't understand the purpose. But as a 35-year-old, it's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, it's great, man. Your parents are awesome.
That'll be amazing, man. I'm super jealous of that. There's actually a kid, I know I've talked to you about it, a kid named Luke Humphries, spelled the same way, that lives in New Zealand.
That's crazy.
That I hope you get to meet and say what's up to for me.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I signed up for the tournaments in New Zealand, and then I get a message like from, I don't know, like 6 people or something. Oh my gosh, you're coming to New Zealand. Like it's so awesome. And it's just cool to see that, you know. The TDs messaged me. One of the TDs messaged me, Luke, and he was like, he sends me this thing, and he's like, man, I was like, oh, we were up late at night partying, and my buddy was like, dude, Nate Perkins just signed up for the tournament. He's like, no, he didn't. Stop it. No, he didn't, dude. He's like, dude, I swear he just popped up on the registration list. And then he was like, dude, you really signed up? Like, no way. Like he typed all this whole like exchange out to me, and
couple beers.
I'd never met him before. It's just so cool. And Yeah, it's crazy. Like just your average disc golfer who like likes to talk about disc golf, and I've been on it, been on Jomez enough, and been on like GK and all these different. I've worked with every production company.
Yeah, yeah, you have.
Every single one.
Everyone.
Like even the ones you've never heard of. I've like I've commentated.
Yeah.
I commentated the European Pro Tour FPO this year, like that has like 500 views. You know what I mean? Like I've worked with like almost every production company that's like filmed disc golf. But I guess that is enough for people to go, oh,
Yeah.
Nate Perkins, I know that guy. Like that's cool that he's coming. Like
You're selling yourself short too.
but
dude.
it's just it's funny, you know it when you're across the world, you're like you sign up and then all of a sudden people are like, let me know what I can do for you. Like,
yeah,
you already have a car lined up. Like here, you can stay at this house and like, here's the red carpet.
that's that community that we
Like,
were talking
oh,
about.
this is
Literally as far away from Texas as you can get.
yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah,
It probably is.
it's dang close.
Yeah, and yeah, it's so cool. It's not that's something I try to not take for granted is
Yeah.
I never try to be like, okay, well, I can just rely on these other people, but it just continues to happen. Like I go to Europe and the same thing. They're like, here's my car and here's my house and like, what can we do for you? And they're so accommodating.
As one of our friends, Jordan, would say, you get in what you put out, or you get out what you put in. Yeah. And you're putting out love.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke.
You're getting it back.
Yeah. It's easy to put out love when it's all that's coming in, it's like, it's the same thing. It's easy to play good disc golf when you're playing good disc golf.
Yeah, but it's a choice too, man,
You got to choose to be kind.
Yeah.
You got to choose to be kind.
Not everybody in your situation would be able to show the love still. Because there's days when it's really hard too, man. When you shoot that rough round, when you got the dead center spit out the roll away, you just got dicked around and you watched everybody else get fortunate. And
Yeah.
it's really easy on those days to
Be bitter.
To imagine how bad things are.
Mm-hmm.
Just lose that perspective. Just tunnel vision yourself into my life sucks for a second.
Yeah.
Just a waste of time, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
You're good at getting out of it too. Better than I am, I think. I'll let it affect me for an hour, 2, 3 sometimes. Whatever, maybe.
Yeah, people deal with that in different ways. Like it's interesting when, I spend a lot of time with James Conrad and Jordan, and Jordan doesn't quite understand like getting upset at it, at like when James like gets upset and is like, frustrated and like shows it just a little bit. I mean, he
rarely
obviously doesn't show it a lot. I mean, there's all those jokes and stuff which are silly, but we're constantly having that kind of discussion with her, because we're trying to explain like, well, it's like you have to have that fire to even be near the top. Like you have to have that fire, and that fire can like it is emotion.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to be in control of it, but you can't help feel strongly when you fail.
Right.
Like in that fire, it like kind of, it flares up a little bit when you get that bogey and you're like, that's unacceptable, James. Yeah. That's unacceptable. You can't always be in just a blissful, peaceful state when you want something so bad.
Right.
And then you fail.
Yeah.
And now you got to use that fire. But at the same time, you have to be even keel to play your best disc golf. So it's like it's teetering that balance of like holding on to, you're aware of the ego. You need the ego to believe you're the best, but also you need to shed the ego to be in the moment. And like, so it's probably the biggest like challenge in golf. Like after you figure out how to spin the disc, and hit a line and throw flat and like make a putt, once you get all the physical stuff down, like exactly like the mental aspect, that balance is what separates.
It is.
That's what separates
people,
especially at the tip top when everybody can do it. Every player in the top 50, now top 100, can rope a disc and put it in the basket. Yeah. Hit a gap, put it in the basket,
Yeah.
you know, but doing it over and over
Right.
every time.
Every time, man. Yeah. It takes an unreal set of belief and a process. And it's amazing that we've got people in our game that can do it so consistently, man. The way that Rick putts, the way that Paul throws putter backhands, you know, the way that Calvin Heimberg hits the laser lines, you know, it's unreal, dude. It's so cool that we're living in this moment in this time. This disc golf.
It's a rad sport.
It's sick, man.
It's like one of my favorite sports. I mean, I love sports. I watch a lot of sports, probably a little bit too much. But it is one of the most impressive ones, especially live.
Yeah.
Especially live.
Oh, it is.
Like when you're close to you know, those players and they're ripping those shots and everything and spinning the disc like, you know, 75 miles per hour, like on a rope. Like that is so
it's thrown 75, but it's also being spun at thousands of revolutions a minute, hundreds a second in some cases, maybe.
Like,
I don't know.
On just like exactly where they want it too. It's a very unique athletic movement.
And unlike a basketball shot or, you know, like a pitch or something, which happens very quickly, in our game, there is that moment of anticipation where everything kind of stops and you watch the disc floating and you know it's coming out of that anhyzer and it's going to flex back and go somewhere near that basket. But there's that moment when nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. We all just watch in anticipation. You know, it's not an instant sport. It takes a second for it to happen, and it's beautiful in that way.
Yeah.
It is. It's almost, you know, kind of like art in that way.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. It's it's so unique, and that's why I think that when people find it, it's not just like it's like a lifestyle.
It takes over.
It's like surfing. Like when when someone like gets into surfing, they're like, oh, I get it. I can just catch a wave and I can just spend my time down at the beach, and like it's not just like a little side thing. Oh, I'm gonna go surf. It's like, oh, I'm living this lifestyle. Disc golf is like that, and
it's a good analogy.
It's like, you know, when someone's really into disc golf, they're playing like 5-6 times a week, you know, like, and they're watching content and they're consuming the content, and it's very common for someone to be all in.
Yeah.
And it's because of some of the factors we've been talking about, and because it's so unique and special, and like it captivates you. Yeah. Like when you throw a shot that you haven't and you get that glide and you park a hole you didn't think you were going to, it's like, it's such a reward.
And then you've got the camaraderie side that we spoke about too. Your best friend watching you do it, and that memory that you guys will have of that special ace, or, you know, that time you went and played Eagles Crossing, or, you know, whatever, which is another cool aspect of our sport. We're starting to get like specific disc golf compounds that are millions of dollars of infrastructure, and just for disc golf. It's a beautiful thing, man. Shout out to Philip Samuels, somebody who's, you know, gotten a little bit of recognition but deserves more, and is not done pushing the envelope in our sport. It's going to be cool to see where he goes. He's got a lodge being built that'll be like the first luxury spot on any disc golf course. It'll be the nicest hotel room you've ever been in, with a huge kitchen, living room, huge windows looking out over a dedicated range.
Wow.
It's also got glow golf lights that light up at night. I mean, it'll be incredible. Philip, that was a commercial for you, so can I get it a couple nights for free? Let's see if that happens.
I can't wait to check that place out. I still haven't been.
You'll love it.
Yeah, I almost came out to the Big Money Skins to do some work with you, and I wish I had, but
you had to see the debacle firsthand.
Yeah, near the end of the tour, it's just like nowadays I plug in the drive and I'm like, man, I just
15.
I just don't want to do a 15er right now, like one way. Like I want to chill, and so I ended up just chilling over at Kev's place, and
not a bad.
Well, where'd I go? I went down to Florida and played a little golf. Much shorter of a drive, but it's just the drives add up.
They do.
They've started to add up, and I've started to, contemplate like flying to a couple more events. And
Yeah.
I love the road, and I love driving. You kind of have to.
Yeah, but there's a wear and tear that comes with it.
Yeah. And there's something about like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but it's like, when you've watched a movie a lot of times, even a movie you like, and you go to play it again and you're about to start it and you're like, brain plays the whole movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know if I really want to watch this movie. I know how it goes. I know how it ends.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel that way for a drive. I'm like, oh, I'm plugging in Vegas. Okay. It's
I'm gonna drive
14 hours away. I
to
know
Albuquerque
what this movie is going to be like, and I just don't really want to play it right now, dude. I just don't want to drive this way, and I don't want the stiff back, and I don't know. Also, at the same time, like when I go to Europe and I'm taking the train and I'm staying in a hostel and I'm not like firing up my diesel combustion engine to just take my body from point A to point B. Like there's a little bit of that moral, or I guess ethical kind of debate in my head where I'm like, I don't really want to be driving like 30,000 miles in my van just to do it. But so it's hard, It
is, man.
It's like we drive so much, and we're professional drivers.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Truckers.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
We're doing 30,000 miles a year, like
certified
average, like 5 to 7 hours of drive, maybe 8 or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's rare that you have less than a 4-hour drive to the next spot.
Extremely.
And 12 hours is not too uncommon. So
no, and 2 to 3, 4 times a year we'll drive 20 or something,
I mean, we've got Jonesboro, and then 2 weeks later it's Stockton.
Yeah.
Which
those type of days,
that's wild.
You got up at 8:30, walked into the Loves, grabbed a coffee, fired that thing up, and literally drove until the next Loves at 10 o'clock that night and went to bed. And all you did was drive.
Yeah.
The whole day.
Yeah.
Sat there. Hogan hates those days.
Oh, poor Hogan. Hogan does not like the van. Poor guy.
Doesn't. And that's just part of it. That's the worst part. We're complaining about the worst part right there, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's a part of it, and Paige has started to fly to more tournaments. She's kind of over the driving. She's been doing it almost like double.
Yeah.
I guess she's on her like 12th or 13th year.
Right.
Which is incredible.
Insane, man.
Road warrior.
Yeah.
There's so many road warriors out there.
Yeah, man.
I look at Paul Ulubari and I'm like, dude, this guy was a road warrior, man. He was playing 40 tournaments, and I love that dude.
Yeah, he's a pioneer right there.
Yeah, that guy
used to be.
I looked up to him quite a bit, and he definitely, he's given me invaluable advice over the years, and he's kind of breathed some life into me. He was one of the first guys to tell me how good I was at doing the voiceover, the commentary for disc golf. He's like, man, you're the best. You're the best at it, dude. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? I'm trying to be like you, but yeah, I love Paul Ulubari, and Jeremy Coling has been a big influence on me as well.
Right.
Those guys are amazing, and I love getting to, to work with them. Anytime Jeremy and I get together and do a little like hosting and stuff.
Yeah, you guys got a fun dynamic. You and Yuli do as well.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Yeah. Part of the reason we do what we do,
So are you playing the whole Pro Tour?
I bought the card.
You got the card, you got the tour card.
It's like $6,500 these days.
Yeah.
$6,500 for the tournaments.
Thanks, Prodigy.
And the $1,000 tour card.
Yeah.
On top.
So you're playing Vegas?
I'm signed up for Vegas.
Yeah.
I just like that town. And I just like those courses. But I'll probably be there. Yeah.
Vegas has grown on me. I used to kind of dislike it, but now I admire all that architecture, and I love the Bellagio.
I
love poker.
Testament to human will. I mean, we're in the middle of a desert with no water, and we've created all that.
Yeah.
So it is cool in that respect, and it is the first of the year, and the weather's usually pretty decent. So.
And you got fourth last year. I watched your entire final round. You shot 13 under par. 13 under par
It was
at the end of a course.
It was a bit out of body.
It was incredible, dude. You were bombing discs, and you made every putt you looked at. I think you missed one putt.
Yeah.
And you shot 13 down. You got 4th place. You beat so many amazing disc golfers on a course that, I mean, you throw it far, but like on a course that like is not necessarily like your bread and butter.
No, I missed the cut the only other time I had played it.
Okay.
2021, I didn't even get to play the 4th round.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I was practicing here in Dallas really well. At the baskets you were putting on yesterday.
That BBOing?
Yeah, that special the new holes at BBOing, right there by the creek. Hogan gets to chill there. I get a putt, and it's right by Tree Love. So I would put in like 20-minute sessions maybe. Never get tired or bored during my putting session. I made sure of that last year and came out hot. Yeah.
Well, you found that like that lag in your putt.
Yeah.
You know, you've been talking about it, and I don't think everyone understands the concept that you found, like, where, you know, like in golf, like you don't hit the ball, like the ball gets in the way.
Yeah.
Right. And similar to disc golf, like you don't release the disc at the end of your reach.
Right.
Like you release it here, and then you follow through here. And like you just like, you found that, like your little lever that you had with your wrist, like you were out, boom.
Yeah.
And you found that, and you were 45 and in, you were making you were doing those little like baby little steppers, the little jump, the little kind of like hop, and you were just banging them. Your P Model S, it was like dead weight.
Yeah.
You know, and you could clearly tell that you had found something.
Yeah. I need to get that back.
Yeah, and you get that lag back.
I remember the lag came from Eagle. Feels like Eagle he shoots it from like right here. Never lets his hand get out in front, which is, I think, how the grip locks happen, how that right miss happens. If you're always choosing the point and not like reaching the end and releasing, but more like being decisive about the choosing of the point, I think that's a good way to do it. And you guys know disc golf, you know, you go through waves when it feels easy and waves when it feels hard. And most of the time when it feels easy, you're actually just concentrating on the target and forgetting the rest.
Yeah.
But
you're going to find that again. So you're signed up for Vegas. You're not convinced.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You're not convinced, but you're going to play Waco.
Yeah.
You got second there last year.
Yeah. Another course that, man, I don't love, but it's a cool place. And special things happen.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a cool spot. It's right on the river. It's like, it's outdated.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many short holes. There's every hole is short, kind of.
Yeah, but it's nostalgic. It's special.
And there's a good community there. They're going to sell all the tickets, and so that's part of the reason why it's still on the Pro Tours, because it's easy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doesn't challenge the golfer.
No 700-foot par fours. The majority of par threes under 300 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a par three over 310 feet. The way we play it now, there might be, but
I mean, there's, you know, like on that open stretch, they're calling those par threes, right? Both of those holes, but it's definitely outdated course. But so you're playing Waco.
I'm going to continue to.
Which Elite Series are you not playing? I guess is the better question.
I'm going to try and play everything. PCS, I'm probably on the fence on.
Okay.
I think there's a Pro Tour event, a European Pro Tour event going on that weekend in Finland that I might try and make and be a part of. I didn't get to play any of the European Pro Tours.
Or
I think it might be Turku.
Yeah.
Which is where Seppo lives.
Yeah.
Cool town with a lot of good disc golf, man. That town is loaded with good disc golf. Pretty cool place.
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes. But I'll hit the elites. I think we're gonna take Texas State's off as the team. We still have yet to figure out exactly if that's the case, but maybe pop up to Arkansas and run a fun skins match for the people who were there when we started skins. You know,
nice.
We began it in 2020 at Persimmon Ridge. It'd be fun to go back there.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Man, the skins is like the best content out there.
It's become something.
It's the best content. It's people get to see the players and like it's just a better setting to watch disc golf, like to see them joke around with each other,
Yeah.
but also still play high level and
Yeah.
like also the skins format, like it forces players to throw shots, like to go for it
Yeah.
more often.
Yeah.
And so it just has that dynamic and
Yeah, it's a perfect storm.
it's my favorite content. I used to consume so much this content, but it's slowed down over the years. But I still love tuning into the skins because
You're making that content that's being consumed at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, the skins is amazing. You guys have a great thing going there.
It's cool that turned into what it has, and we look forward to pushing it into, adapting, evolving into something else, and eventually releasing another show, something like Skins, that we can bring the people and get that personal dynamic, maybe more FPO players involved, whatever it might be. But
Nice.
dude, the FPOs, that's the future. I mean, we've seen for the last 3-4 years, like kids coming out of the woodwork, like Gannon's, whoever it might be, Isaac Robinson, Robert Burridge, just that level of guys that, the average disc golfer maybe hasn't heard of, but that these dudes are elite, ready to win tournaments and stuff. And I think we're going to see that on the FPO side. We did some commentary about Caroline Henderson yesterday.
Oh yeah, she was legit.
Nobody knows
athletic.
about that girl yet. She's about to show the world.
Yeah.
She said she's going to be on tour next year. Maria Oliva dedicating herself. She's in this house right now. Extremely. Just. Dude,
Yeah, I can't wait to see a up and comer. It's like
FPO.
yeah, it's really I mean just as a fan of the game, when you see someone that has clearly put some time in and like considers it like one of their crafts, like they've got a craft, they've been honing this craft. It's like it's just so cool to watch just a human like learn about all their discs and learn about their own skills and then what they choose to bring to the tournament. Like what Caroline's, she's clearly like leaning toward that forehand spectrum and everything, and she's clearly focused on her footwork, she's clearly focused on her releases, and like she's got her routine with her putt, like all those little things. When you see a player for the first time and you pick up on all those things, it's so cool. Like now we're going to add that. I'm going to add that to I'm going to go, okay, Caroline Henderson, I know a little bit about her game, so that when I'm on the Disc Golf Network, I'm trying to share with the people what I've seen, when I watched her play in person this past week at Straddle the Brazos. It's like, it's just so cool that I want to add more FPO athletes to the bank up here.
Right.
You know it?
Totally. And this next year or two, that was kind of the point I was really going for, is this next year or two, we're going to have to add so many girls to the bank. I have a feeling.
Nice. That'd be cool.
It'll be fun.
I want to see someone competing. I want to see someone ripping, 400-foot drives like Paige. Yeah. I mean, even Kristen, who's like, the best FPO player in the world right now. She doesn't quite rip it like Paige Pierce does.
No.
Like Ella Hansen certainly does. She's one of the few, and Jennifer Allen, but there's going to be a lot more of the Ella Hansens and the Paige Pierces like in the next like 10 years. Yeah, Holland rips. Her forehand is like
clean, dude.
It's incredible, and there's going to be more of that, and I can't wait. There's high level golf to be had in the division.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, and we kind of watch more FPO than we do MPO.
100%.
Because we're watching live in the morning, like before we
Friday,
play.
Saturday, Sunday. You wake up and 9 o'clock they come on.
We're watching FPO.
Yeah, watching Valerie Mondahano throw just a baller shot at Waco, Heiser at the water, flip up 8-footer.
That was one of the best shots of the year.
Ice in her veins. That was so cool to see, man.
Where'd she went to Discraft? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think she did.
I think so.
She went to Discraft. She was on
DD with
DD,
Mason.
yeah, heard Mason.
Yeah.
Mason went to Mint.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool.
It is, man.
Disc golf's unique with that little, with the little,
The shakeups and
yeah, the shakeups. You know, it's an individual sport, but they're like, oh, you're on this team, and like,
and literally sales people will switch bags for you. You know?
Yeah,
they'll buy 26 new discs in a $250 bag and towels and like who knows where Simon is going. But
yeah.
people are waiting with their credit card. Just where's it going? All right, Discraft, bang.
That'd be
MVP,
wild.
boom.
That would be wild, man.
They're waiting to swipe 500.
Yeah. So, I mean, Simon's like, in my opinion, the most valuable.
Dude sells frisbees.
He's the most valuable because of his interaction with the fan base, with his YouTube channel and stuff. Like, people love him. Like, he's so lovable.
He turns the camera around. He's just talking to you.
Yeah.
Feels like he's talking to you.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Simon.
His vlog's awesome. He's obviously so talented, so much fun to watch. He was, I told that story earlier about Greg Barsby, calling me in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Paying for the event.
Yeah. But Simon was just as integral. It was 2014, and I had joined the UT Disc Golf Club and was like starting to get hooked into the game. And my buddy Ben Mandelstein, he actually lives right down the street. He's in Dallas. He was like, hey, this guy Avery Jenkins and this guy Simon Lizotte are doing this thing in Austin. We were in Austin at the time, and they're doing a Deep in the Game clinic. Like, do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, of course, I'd love to go. So we go to this Deep in the Game clinic, and we're walking up to the Met Center field, and we see a frisbee like flying like 100 feet in the air, and it goes forever. It goes 1,000,000 miles across the field, and I'm like, what was that?
Shooting frisbees out of a gun over here?
What was that? And then we look and we see this skinny dude throw a disc like 700 feet across this field.
Is he like 360
with the wind? Yeah.
You're just like, what is he even doing?
And my jaw was on the floor, and I'm like, what in the world is this? I had no idea that I had watched a couple YouTube videos of them playing like Texas State's 2013, playing in the Cactus. And I had no clue that you could throw a disc like that and that it was capable. And we watched Simon throw. He legit was throwing like 750, 800 feet across
the world record
across this field.
The next year or the year after that, right?
Yeah. And we, Avery Jenkins was a world champ. And so he was the name I had like kind of heard.
Yeah.
But I had never heard of this Simon guy. And we were at this clinic, and I was like, this is incredible. I want to try and do this. I want to try and play this game because this game is so cool. And I talked with Simon, and, he's from Germany, and it's his first time in the United States, like first time traveling, like as an adult. And we were the same age. Simon's 2 weeks older than me to the day, just 2 weeks.
Wow.
He's 30 years old, both 1992. He's November, I'm December. And he had been playing since he was a little kid.
Yeah.
And this is going to be his full-time job. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I want to be like you, dude. Like, straight up told him that. Like, I want to
throw shots like that.
I want to be high rated like you, And I told him, and then I messaged him like 6 months later. I'm like, hey, I got my first player rating. I'm 975. Like, I'm coming for you. And he's like, obviously probably gets messages like that, like from a bunch of random other disc golfers. And he's like, whatever, And then, a year later, I'm like, hey, I'm 995 rated. Like, I'm going to play with you. And then like a year later, I'm on Dysmania.
Yeah.
And like a year after that, I'm like 1,005 rated, and I'm playing with Simon at a tournament. And then we're friends. We start to develop a friendship. And now at this point, Simon called me asking me for advice about his switch. Yeah. He wanted to share with me what decision he had at hand, and he wanted to get my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, it's come such a long way. We have a friendship now. Like, we look up to each other. you know, from just like I was like, oh my God, you are amazing. I want to be like you, to like, we're friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was at his wedding.
Peers.
I went to his wedding,
Yeah.
you know, like it's, disc golf is so like accessible in that way.
It is, man.
It's so accessible. And I think that's why
no matter 3 years or 4 years, you know, you went from the starry-eyed, wide-eyed kid to the peer.
Yeah. Because it's a single sport. Like we have the tour card now, which is somewhat putting up a gate. It makes it a little harder to like just sign up for a tournament and play against Paul Macbeth. But the road to get there is not that. It's not like the PGA Tour like you don't have to. Nothing is really keeping you from becoming a great disc golfer, winning some tournaments, winning a Silver Series, getting a tour card. Like you can just sign up and play a tournament and sign up and like compete against high level disc golfers.
We've seen that change in the last few years. It went from, you want to play? Come on, man. Pro Tour, just
Leadstone Worlds. I mean, you could have never played a disc golf tournament and sign up for the World Championships and win the World Championships.
Yeah,
you know it.
Yeah,
like you can just sign up for the biggest tournament. Like you have to qualify for the United States Disc Golf Championship, and it might be hard to play European Open. But like you can just like sign up for the World Championship and compete against Paul Macbeth.
It'd be like just like walking up to Bethpage Black and being like, all right, I came here to play the US Open.
Yeah.
Time for tea time.
Yeah, right. It's so accessible in that way. And
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it'll not be like that forever.
No.
We're already seeing.
We're in a unique time.
Yeah.
We're in a unique time for sure.
But we were in the transfer over. You know, we got to see it go from grassroots to mainstream. I feel like, you know, that is 2019 to 2022 is really, it's been an evolution.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it's been a crazy time for disc. All my private lessons are people that started in 2020. Pretty much all of them.
2-year-old.
Yeah.
Dude, the COVID boom, there's kids coming out of the COVID boom who are filthy, who literally started this in April of 2020. And they're smashing. Yeah, the future is bright.
Swag. There's so much good, so many good places to learn.
Makes me want to go start putting.
I know. I need to figure out my putt, dude. It's been the greatest downfall. I mean, for me,
it's been the greatest downfall.
It has, dude. It's literally like I would have had so many better tournament finishes if I could have just like tapped in my 22 footers, you know, my 28 footers. Like my circle one percentage has been like at the bottom of the bottom of the tour, and it's just it's all up in here. And it's crazy that I've been doing it for 7 years and I still haven't found what works best for me. Like I can have a smooth putting stroke for weeks and weeks, and then I get in the tournament and my heartbeat is through, I can feel my heart like pounding through my chest, and I'm like just terrified. It's like, it's crazy. It's crippling. It's a crippling anxiety of the failure. And like,
you've overcome it. You remember overcoming it. So it's
there's been moments where I've overcome it.
Yeah.
And there's been moments where my putts have been short enough to where I didn't have to overcome it. And they were just all short. And I'm like, I'm shooting a good round. But like, I want people out there to know that like, you're not the only one that gets nervous, and like that overcoming that is a part of the skill. Understanding your heartbeat and your breath and how to get back to ground zero before you putt is like one of the skills. It's not that I have it off worse than you because my heart beats faster. It's part of being that athlete is like getting back to a good place to be. And even in the small tournaments, like my first putt that I was attempting, or the first shot at Straddle the Brazos, like I'm not settled. And my third putt, I'm not settled. And I'm in the 3 putt, and I'm just like, I I'm on this mission to figure that out still after 7, 8 years of playing this game. I'm like, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, it's one of the things that attracts us to it, man.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you want to get at? Anything else you want to let these fine people know about?
Yeah, I mean, it's my latest disc release, the Zen 2,
Yeah.
is still on the shelf. It's interesting because I'm parting ways with Discmania. My disc was released at the end of December of 2022, and interesting because like I was saying, the decision is kind of forced on you, like because of the transition into the new year and everything. Contracts up. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, are you re-signing? Are you moving on? And so
You get 90 days essentially for a life decision.
yeah,
A
it's
multi-year life decision.
right. And so I did make the decision to part ways with Dysmania, and my Zen 2 is a meta essence, like one of my favorite molds all time. Just an incredible disc, and the artwork, it means a lot to me, and it kind of is a representation of this mission that I'm on to find peace on the course. You know, the guy on the disc is surrendering his sword. He's sitting on this cliff, surrendering himself, and that's you kind of have to surrender yourself to each and every moment. You got to be in each and every moment. You got to let go of what it means to make or miss the putt. Let go of what the result means. And so it's sad that I'm leaving this company that I've been with for 7 years. And that's part of the reason why I'm taking time away from the manufacturers, because my disc is still on the shelf, and I just finished promoting the Zen 2, which I firmly believe in. It's an amazing product, amazing disc, that's going to fly great for any level, any skill level. And yeah, so I'm taking some time off from promoting anyone's products, and trying to give myself the proper amount of time to decide who I want to work with, and how I want to help a company succeed.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that'll be. It might be a month or so, a few months or longer, but I do want to give proper thanks to everyone at Dysmania and all the fans who have like bought a disc from me or associated me with Discmania and over the years. And we've had a really cool thing,
Yeah.
Dysmania and I, and my van has been wrapped with their, we've had their logo, their wings flying on my purple van for 5 years now. So I'm gonna go take that wrap off and get a new wrap. Yeah, and closing that chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing it in a professional way, and I want to say just proving that you're wise, and care about using the wisdom that you've learned in that month or 2 months or whatever it may be away. 7 years is a long time. You were loyal to that company, and now you've got a chance to think about the future and decide what those priorities are. And I couldn't commend you enough for taking some time to do that. You're 30. It's an important time. It's an important decision. It's a cool moment. There's a lot of opportunity here for you. So I'm super excited to see what the future holds, Mr. Perkins.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's been good chatting with you.
Same, man.
Yeah, it's a cool space, and man, I just love what you're doing with GK Pro, and just like, all the people are hungry for disc golf content,
Right.
and you guys make such good content, and you give back to disc golf by doing stuff like this. Like, just, we're just friends chatting, in front of the cameras and stuff, but people love it, and you inspire people to love this game. Like, you inspire people to make their own content. Like, you also have become this household name. You're you're an icon in the sport now. Like it's really funny, Luke, how many times I get called Luke Humphries. It's like we don't look that similar.
And you're like, bro, I made Luke Humphries.
No. But it's so funny. Like I had a guy at USDGC. He was like, "Man, are you Luke Humphries?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." But thank you. And he's like, "Dude, I watch the Skins all the time. Are you sure you're not Luke Humphries?" And I was like,
"You got me."
Okay. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure, but it's so funny, but it happens all the time. Like people are like, "Hey, Luke, will you sign my disc?" And sometimes I just sign it, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm Nate Perkins, but Luke's a good buddy of mine. But I called you the other day to tell you I was proud, because I am proud. You've fully embraced your skill set. Like you are very articulate, you're very smart, and you're great at what you do. You're a killer host, like on the Skins, and like you're an icon in the sport now, and you bring value to the world of disc golf in so many ways. Prodigy is super lucky to have you doing what you do for them, and yeah, it's been quite the ride, man.
It has been, and
it's been quite
I'm
the
a
ride.
product of the amazing people around me, first and foremost.
Yeah.
GK crew, the way that they work, and the way we've aligned in our goals and stuff is, you couldn't have asked for it, really. I'm a product of hardworking, amazing, beautiful people around me, you included. Thank you for what you've done.
GK Pro guys are rad.
Dude, they're special.
I love any chance I get to work with them, and hopefully we can do some more stuff together this year.
I see it happening.
We'll be out there. We should do some more. Let's film some more rock hounding stuff.
You don't have to tell me.
Let's get out there. Like I want some opal. We should go like really get into the opal when we head west.
Yeah, North Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're going to be back with more stuff, more fun. But let's put a bow on it for now.
Yeah.
Thank you for
good chat. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in,
Hope
guys.
You guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe and like. It helps us out a lot. And go enjoy that beautiful day, Take advantage of it. We're all here. We're all here doing something special.
Yeah, love you guys. Peace.
Peace.